Hi, everybody. 大家好. My name is Nanika. In this video, I'm going to share a tip with you that I think would help anybody who is interested in learning Chinese. There are many things that you can do to help accelerate or speed up your learning process, but I'll give you one tip in this video. If you're interested in learning how to read and write Chinese, one of the best things that you can do is focus on etymology. Etymology is the study or analysis of the origin or the origins of a word or the intrinsic meaning of a word. So, for example, one of the things that people find very challenging about Chinese is the script. Like people feel intimidated by the script. The script is not as intimidating as it seems. What the Chinese language does is recycle a lot of the same elements. So you'll see a lot of the same elements turning up in hundreds and thousands of different words. Once you become familiar with these elements, learning Chinese will become a lot easier, certainly reading and writing, which arguably would be the most challenging aspects, especially the writing. Okay, so to illustrate what I mean by etymology, but from a Chinese perspective, we're going to look at the word that you see on the screen right now. It is pronounced Xin, which means, among other things, trust, believe, to profess faith, for example, in a religion, truthful, confidence, trust. Okay, those are some of the meanings associated with this word. Xin. Don't worry about the pronunciation. We're just focusing on the script itself. On the left-hand side, you can see what is called a radical, which gives the root meaning of the word, and it represents a person. Yes, that portion, that element on the left that looks like a bit like the letter T, capital T. It represents a person. On the right-hand side, what you see are words coming out of a mouth. Like you see the little box at the bottom that represents your mouth or somebody's mouth. And coming out of that, you see these horizontal lines. They represent like energy coming out of somebody's mouth. So what does that tell you? Like a person next to words coming out of somebody's mouth. So speech, essentially. You'll realize that it's very logical. I'll give you a few seconds to figure out why a person next to speech is connected with trust, confidence, belief. Okay, well, there is a saying that we are only as good as our word, right? Like people know that they can trust us if we keep our word. If we make promises that we constantly break, or commitments that we never keep, or sometimes we keep and sometimes we don't, however we may feel like, then people wouldn't have a lot of confidence in us. They wouldn't trust us. They wouldn't believe the things that we say, right? Or conversely, if you are the kind of person who keeps your commitments, you do what you say, you're a man of your word or a lady of your word, a young person of your word, then people would have confidence in you. They would trust you. They would believe you. Or also, if you look at it from a slightly different perspective, if you are the kind of person who keeps your word, you would probably be very confident. Because when we have integrity, it boosts our confidence because we would know that we're a person of character. Somebody who constantly breaks their word deep inside of themselves, they know they can't even trust themselves, right? So, speech and a person is linked to confidence and trust. And I mean, this script could be like a rabbit hole, right? I mean, you could analyze this further. You could find all kinds of other perspectives, like who is the person? Is it the person who's speaking? Is it the person who's listening to the person who's speaking? I mean, you could give all kinds of different there could be all kinds of different nuances to the script. I won't get into a lot of things in this. This is just to give you a very quick example. What makes Chinese pretty easy to learn is the fact that the script is really systematic. Like they have a set number of elements that are recycled among thousands of words. So you constantly see the same elements recurring in different words, okay, in different combinations. If you want to ace reading Chinese and writing Chinese in one go, learning the etymology is very important. Otherwise, you have to literally make up stories around the script. Like I remember when I was learning Chinese, I learned Chinese in university as part of my bachelor's degree. I remember, right? I didn't know about etymology back then. I just had to learn the script off the top of my head. I made up stories like, oh, that looks like an electric wire or like a telephone wire with birds sitting along the line. You know, I came up with all kinds of different stories, right? And you can do that if that helps, but actually knowing academically what the script accurately represents, that helps a lot. So I hope that tip was helpful. And no, Chinese is not difficult to learn. It's actually a very pretty straightforward language. One of the easiest languages to learn, I would say. Don't believe anybody who tells you otherwise. The grammar is very basic. The grammar is very simple, not necessarily simplistic, but very simple. So more straightforward than English, Spanish, or French, or any language, for example, where you need to conjugate verbs. In Chinese, you don't conjugate verbs. The verb is always the same. So, you know, anyway, we can get into this at another point. I don't want this video to be too long, but just know that learning how to deconstruct the script, you know, understanding what the different elements represent will definitely help you with reading and writing and the memorization of what seem to be very arbitrary words that are not. Okay, the script is not arbitrary. And by the way, I would encourage you to follow me if you are interested in Chinese in particular, because I do plan on eventually doing some more videos with Chinese as the main theme. I do think that a lot of people are interested in learning Chinese and understanding Chinese and deciphering Chinese, and I would be happy to help you and to share some of my knowledge. So that's it. Chinese, not a difficult language to learn, not as difficult as people think. And of course, anything requires effort. It may not be a walk in the park, but what is? You know, very few things are a walk in the park. You got to make an effort if you want to get something, you know, anything worth having, you have to work for, right? But you can save yourself some sweat if you work smart. So that's it. Hope that was helpful.